Hi, this is Nikki Hall from Polkadoodles. We've had a few requests from people who would like to have a video on how to use the cutting files that we include in some of our collections. Um, and so the only machine I actually have is the Silhouette Cameo, and the portrait I also have. I don't use a scan and cut, but it's really easy. And I think on the scan and cut all I would do is literally print your sheet off, and then just scan it in as you normally would. You can use the cutting files, and hopefully this video, if you do want to do that, hopefully this video will actually help you to do that as well. But I can't show you how to do it on the scan and cut because, as I say, I don't use it. I haven't got a machine. I'm working on a Mac, but it's going to be the same whether you're on Windows or not. So I'm in my Silhouette Studio software. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually set this to landscape. I prefer working in a landscape format, and you'll see that most of the sheets on the collections are also set up in landscape. So the first thing I always do is I make sure that I have my registration marks on, which are these little marks at the top that you can see, and that's because we are going to print and cut. So basically I'm going to work on Winnie Winterland. And I'm going to work with a design sheet because these are the most complex ones that we have. So basically, to find these, what you would do is you go into your, let me see, when you've actually loaded your CD, or if you've got this CD on download, once you've unzipped and extracted the files, this is what you'll then see. So you'll see these three kind of weird looking files. Now if you're on a Windows machine, this will probably show up as a yellow circle, and the exe file is like your disk file that you want to run. So but when you're using it with your Cameo, don't bother going into that section. We need to actually do it as if we're looking in documents and folders. So you're going to double click, and then what you're looking for is the images folder. Now, if you're going into an old CD of ours, so anything really that's older than about 2 years, the layout of this might be different because we've changed what we do. So you've got two files here that say do not use. Nothing scary in there, it's just that anything in there is really low resolution and not suitable for you to print. It's just things that we need to actually put into the CD menu. So you go into the collection, and then here you've got everything in here. So you can see this is the normal images that actually appear and you print. So even if you don't want to use the CD menu, if you're on a Mac, this is exactly how you're going to use it. So what we're going to do for this purpose is we're going to go straight into the cutting files. There's a how-to file here. This is on the latest Winterland. This is new, and I've tried to put all the instructions here. But from now on, what I'll do is I'll actually also include this video. So these are all the different files that you've got in here. So I'm going to go into design sheets, and my Mac's just delaying a little bit because my recording software is just taking up a little bit of memory. So in here you kind of look and think, oh well, I don't know what goes with what, and it's like a bit of a mystery, but use that how to. But it's so simple. First time you do it, it will just click, and then that'll be it. So the first one I'm going to use is what I'm going to do, these black images are actually a repeat of these coloured images here. So the actual file name relates to the other file name. So basically you've got a black and it's called Cut DS12. What you need to do is also find DS12 in colour, which is here. So this one's actually, I've called it DS12A. So anyway, we're just going to open this. So we're going to open it within the Silhouette. I'm going to slip it onto landscape. And then I'm going to go back again, and I'm going to also open the coloured version. Okay, so that again, DS12 is the colour one. And that's going to open in a new window for me. Okay, now what I'm going to do, now this is the easiest way I find to work it. Everything with me is always about speed because I don't have time to sit here faffing around all day, messing about. So I try and find this shortcut, easiest ways for you to do things. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to select that, and if you press Control X, it'll cut it out of there, and then Control V will paste it back in onto your other document. Now you can see now this is exactly the same file that we've just opened. So what you're going to do is basically you would go up to, if you needed to, you go up and you align middle center, having selected both of those images. Now notice I have not resized anything. Do not resize anything at this point in time, okay? Because if you're going to resize anything, you need to resize both together. Otherwise, you're going to have a right carry on trying to actually make things fit properly. Anyway, so basically, this is the image we're going to cut. And if I send that to back, you can see that the black is actually exactly the same image, but it's going to give us a really neat outline. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to select, in fact, I'm going to move this out of the way. You don't have to, but I'm going to, and I find it easier if you do, to be honest. So let's just move that out of the way. I'm just going to take the black file as it is, and now I'm going to use the black file to trace. Okay, so we want a low pass filter, take the high pass off. As you can see, because that was all black, it's picked up the outline perfectly. Really, trust me, this is the easiest possible way to trace your file. Okay, if I now move that black file out of the way, you can see you've got your trace file. So what I'm going to do is just select it, right click, release the compound path. I'm going to get rid of that bit there at the top because I don't need it. And then I'm going to just regroup all of that back together. Make sure you group it back together at this point. Okay. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring in the other bit of my file. Okay. And again, what you should be able to do is you should be able, if you have a problem, you should be able to align center middle. But now, because we've actually altered that cut file, it doesn't see it quite the same, so it doesn't quite align it the same way. So you need to manually align this at this point, which is not difficult because you've got lots of things that you can align it to. Okay, so that's where we would go with that. So I'm just going to send that to the back because I've got the coloured image in front. Now I like to actually do this kind of by eye, and I like to move this out of the way, and that's what I'm going to do here, but it's up to you how you want to do it. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to select the image, and what we need to do is just do an offset, because as you could see before, if I just cancel that off, this now is the exact size of your print. Okay, so everything is really fine. You can see here on this present here, you've actually got no tolerance whatsoever for your machine to cut that, and that's just going to be nigh on impossible for it to do. It'll just end up tearing it. And we've also got all these little tiny dots here at the top, which we're going to remove later on. But basically, it's up to you whether you want to. I like just a really fine outline around my image, but it's entirely up to you how much you want to do. I've seen some people and they put loads of white space. I actually don't like that. So I just click the offset. It's automatically on mine done it to 0.2, which is 2mm. That's actually way too big for me. I don't think I want it at that. And also the other thing is you need to just bear in mind you're going to have areas that are overlapping on here as well. So I'm going to do this at let me see. I'm just going to move it so that it's 0.05. Okay, so that's like literally half a millimeter. Okay, and I think that is actually going to be pretty good for me. It's just going to give me a slight edge around everything, but it's just going to enable my machine to have that tolerance, I think. And then obviously you can then start, let me just zoom out of this. You can then start to do all your faffing bit, what I call the faffing bits, where you're then going to, adjust any of your cut lines if you want to, or anything like that. So I'm going to actually take that center line there, which is my original file, and I'm going to just delete that. Okay, just remember here, like little places here, like you're going to have it so that it's touching. You might just want to go back in and just adjust that a little bit, but remember that you've got your whole sheet here. So basically this sheet all needs to fit, and any adjusting you do you want to actually do it all at the same time, because it'll just make it easier. You won't be forever messing about having to kind of adjust everything and resizing everything manually all the time. And you can see there, look, now, because we did that offset, we've actually got rid of that that little bit there that wasn't going to cut. Now if you wanted to, obviously you can manually put that in, and also it's taken out those stupid little holes which were literally going to be just a pin dot and would probably make your machine go a little bit haywire. You can see here, look, this is what I'm talking about. We've got the cut line here, because we offset it, it's actually joined up on these bits. Now for me personally, it's no biggie to just get a pair of scissors and just literally trim those. I would do that rather than mess about trying to separate this off, because your main image is a PNG. Now on the CD, you probably have everything that's on this sheet separately anyway if you wanted to, so you could always rebuild it, but to be honest, it's just not even worth the messing about. Craft has to be fun and easy, and just get a pair of scissors and trim this. It's so much easier. So and that's basically all you do. So all you're going to do now is just literally, if you want to resize this is now the time to do it. So group this together, Control G to group, or go up into your settings, and then just take notice of where your print tolerances are and where your cutting tolerances are. So I know that's going to print okay in there, and then you're just literally going to click print, and then you've got all of your registration marks on, and then you can just cut it out on your silhouette, and it's as easy as that. And then just save that file. So, you know, just save it off into your machine, wherever you want it to be, and then you've always got that. And I use the cutting files so much, it's so time saving. Takes, you know, I've been faffing about here, but literally once you've done it a couple of times, it takes you literally a couple of minutes to do each one, and it saves you so much time. You can just set them all printing. I go in and I actually do all of them all at the same time, so I might spend like an hour or so setting them all up, but then I've got them for all of the whole kit. So in here, you know, just have a look. Oops. Oh, I don't know what I've opened there. Oh, snowflakes. So this is a really good one to do, you know, because snowflakes are quite hard to cut. So on this one, you definitely going to want to offset this if you do this. But basically, you know, I've purposely done this because there's no way that your machine would actually be able to recognise a really pale blue snowflake. It just wouldn't pick up, and that's when you have to start messing around and actually manually tracing everything. And it is, you know, I use these products and I know what a pain in the neck is, so this is why I've done it this way for you. So it's just mega easy. So just use this, do your trace. Let's do the trace. And because it's black, it instantly picks it up, even on the lowest pass. And then you're just going to mess about with your threshold. You know, this is quite intricate, so you're going to want to actually pull that threshold right up. I would actually go to maybe kind of like about there, trace it. You can see then where your lines actually are. Hope you can see it on there. So you can see we've got all of the lines. It's all coming out perfectly on here. And you've got some lovely snowflake shapes. And then what you need to do, obviously I didn't resize that. Where are we? So I need to find the snowflake. So it's cut EB41. It looks like it says cute, but it isn't. It's cut EB41. So then I open the actual PNG, get hold of that, Control X, and then I'm going to paste that in on here. Now this is what I was saying to you before about making sure that you do it together at the same time, because look, now this doesn't fit. So now I have to manually fit that in on top of my trace file, which, yeah, I can do it pretty easily. It's not really a big deal, but it's just extra work that you don't need to do. Just make sure that you open up the black file at the same time as your coloured file, and then, you know, just don't resize them. You know, as soon as I can, I group them together. You see, look, it's a little bit tricky getting them to the perfect size and the perfect place, but we're about there. So if I just send that to the back, obviously you've already seen me do this once. Once you've done that, you can actually get rid of that black one. You don't need it, but I quite often leave them off the canvas. So then when you actually go in here now, you can see all of these lovely little intricate cuts on your snowflakes. Now, on some of these, obviously, what I would say is you are going to need to offset this because you're not going to get a full snowflake. So let's move that out of the way, because obviously here these aren't joined together. So let's offset it. Go to that offset and let's see what we can get away with this time. I'm looking really at the one down on the bottom right hand corner because that's the one that's going to really give me an issue. But that, if we go down to about 1.1, so 1 mil, and that's actually giving me my perfect outline. Look, so I've now got a full snowflake that I can just cut out. And you know, this is just the best way of, don't forget to take off those inner lines if you want them gone, but then basically you can then resize these right down and once you've actually set it all up. Okay, so I hope that really helps you, and if you've got any problems at all, just make sure that you actually ask in the Facebook group, because lots of the girls on the design team have their silhouette, and I know that they've all found that doing it this way is just so much quicker and easier. They absolutely love it. Okay, over and out. See you soon. Bye.